Welcome again, welcome again. So I guess the best thing to do is to just kind of start off by telling you a little bit about my story. In my last relationship, we were together for 17 years. And the reason that I start with that is because that's what this entire podcast is about. It's about the relationships you've had in the past as well as the relationships that you are pursuing online. So yeah, we've been together for 17 years, and at that point in time you get to a point where you start to become content and you really feel like this is it, this is the long haul, regardless of all of the small complications and day-to-day commonalities that you guys may or may not have. You start to feel like this is what it is. This is where I'm going, and you become complacent. And the thing that happens over a period of time is that the fiber of that relationship starts to deteriorate, and your partner doesn't always mention when they are unhappy and the things that they're feeling. And me being the type of person that I am, I'm a bull, so I'm always 100 speeds ahead, and or just like full speed ahead, rather. I think that's the way you say it. So yeah, it was times that I feel like I may have just run over the fact that she dropped a hint or a sign saying, "Hey, I don't think you're spending enough time with me," or "Hey, I feel," not that I was one to run the streets. I didn't go to bars. I didn't hang out in bars. I didn't run the streets, chase skirts, any of that type of stuff. But I did have things that I like to do in my spare time. I like to fish. I like to golf, and depending on what I got into, I'm one of those type of people that when I'm into something, and I am really into something. So, which has been it's been an attribute as well as a detriment. So, I have to say that yeah, there may have been warning signs along the way, year 10, year 12, year 15, and then things get a little more complicated as well when you have kids. So we were a family of 5, myself, my ex, a daughter from a previous relationship, and my 2 sons from my ex. So you get content again with that family unit, and you feel like you've built a unit that gives you that type of security. So you tend to not really see a lot of the things that you should be seeing. And most of you guys out there, I'm pretty sure, in your relationship, there are some things that you've learned that you feel like your partner may need to know, and you just may not always know the best way to say those things. And this is when your incompatibilities become really, really glaring, because as you start the transition of growing apart, if they're not if you're not compatible in a manner to where you have those things that pull you back together, that make it easier to talk about these things, that's when you see that erosion in the relationship over a period of time. I'm not talking about 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3-year relationship, even though, hey, that is what it is. But I'm talking about long extended relationships that involves life changes, ups, downs, that type of stuff. So, it's I mean, even when we got to a point where we decided that we were going to break up, there's still a tremendous amount of love there. There's still, she may never admit it, but I know she still loved me, and I know she still loves me to this day. She's gonna always love me because that's who I am. And I'm probably going to always love her. That's just how it is. You don't take 17 years and just forget about it lightly. You actually never forget about it. That is, in some cases, a fifth, a quarter of your lifetime. And if I don't take care of myself, it could be a third of my lifetime. But yeah, so you start to realize that you're going to move away from this relationship thing. You got to get everybody involved, kids, family, so on and so forth. And sometimes it gets messy, like these things do, because there's a lot of feelings involved. And there is, if you feel like you've been slighted, or you feel like you're getting slighted, or you feel like there's something that wasn't said that was appropriate, you start to feel, you start to get angry. So that happens a lot, and you need someone to kind of take you and pull you apart and say, hey, this is the deal. This is what you guys decided. Maybe you might end up back together. Maybe you won't. In this particular relationship here, I don't think we will. We've been apart for a while now, and that's just kind of how it is. So when you're in short relationships, 6 months, a year, 18 months, depending on how hard you fell or how fast you fell, when that relationship's over, your get up and go time may be rather minimal. In 2 months, 3 months, you may feel like, you know what? I'm ready to do this again. Let's do this. Bring out the beast. Let me get back in the ring. But the longer, more tenured relationships, those things take time. This was 17 years. So, of course, you want to take some time off. I think walking away from it, the day you walk away from it, you say, okay, I'm going to go out and find something bigger and find something better and so on and so forth. But once you have that time alone to evaluate and just kind of think through what it is that's happened and like everything that's happened, it dawns on you at some point in time that, hey, what happened? What the hell happened? Jeez Louise. And you find yourself in that, situation. So you go through that whole self-help phase, trying to make you a better you. Hopefully you spend some time being honest with you and saying, hey, even though we like to walk away and feel like it's always everybody else's fault, it takes a little bit of courage at times to look in the mirror and say, it was me too, or it was me. There's times you got to say, hey, I'm the reason that we're not together. You got to accept that. And depending on how many bridges you've burned, there may or may not be an opportunity to go back and make it right. So it's just getting through that self-help phase, and me, going through the self-help phase for my situation, when I came out of that whole self-help and, I really feel good about seeing her with someone else and being happy ultimately, because at the end of the day, like I said, you still care about that person and you care about their happiness, and you're ready, and you're feeling a little frisky and you're feeling like, okay, it's time to it might be time to get out here in these streets again. But guess what? You can't get in the streets because COVID. I'm going at it at a point in time where COVID is at the height. It's the height of the COVID pandemic. So it ain't no going out and meeting people and, all those organic relationships that used to happen in the past. You go to the bowling alley, you go to the bar, you go do things, you go to like all of these different things you can do socially, and you meet someone and there's a spark. Well, that ain't happening because you're on lockdown, baby. You are in the house, or you're essential and you're at work, and the whole work relationships, that's a whole different episode. Stay away from that if all costs possible, but we'll get back to that somewhere further along down the line. But bottom line is COVID, you ain't going out doing it organically. So you look around and you say, okay, how do I meet people? And the obvious answer is you find yourself on them online dating streets. You walking the sidewalks of the online dating platforms saying, never thought I'd see myself here, but here I is. So it's, that's a little bit about me. I'm a very, very, very social person. So I've never had an issue with being able to go out in society and find someone or attract someone. I've never had a problem attracting female attention because I have a really big persona. I'm usually the funniest person in the room. I usually control the environment and conversation in the room. And anybody who knows me will tell you that that's just the type of person I am. That's the type of person I've always been. I'm funny. That's good. Laughter is always good. It's great for the soul. Anytime you can make a potential suitor laugh and smile and blush, then you're getting points. And I always had the ability to do that. Not to say that I'm a full-fledged comedian, but I probably could have been a comedian if I wanted to. I know I'm funnier than half of the guys out there that's getting paid. So, but yeah, that's another episode too. So we'll kind of just put a check on that and put that in the back, and we'll get back to that later too. I don't have drop dead handsome model looks where you stepped off the cover of Vogue or Time or Sexiest Man in the World Idris Elba type crap going on, but at the same time, I ain't a scallywag either, you know what I'm saying? I think that when I go and I clean up and I'm on a woman's arm, I think she's really proud to have me on her arm, and she's like, you know what, this is a really good situation. So what I do have is a magnetism that is extremely undeniable. It's very easy for me to make friends. People do approach me to become friends because they like that magnetism that I project, and they like that environment that I create. And that's the thing about life, is you want to be around people and situations that you feel bring the best out of you. Even with relationships, make sure you remember that. That's something that we'll have to come back to. So, and also, not to mention, I am an alpha male. That's kind of how it is. I don't take a back seat most times, and if I am forced to take a back seat, I don't do that really well. So the whole frustration factor is huge when it comes to me having to just sit back and take a back seat. I don't get down like that well. So there's that, and I mean that's just kind of a little bit about where I'm coming from and who I am. In this first episode, just trying to familiarize you with what caused me to want to create this particular podcast and generate this particular content, because when I did start to entertain the online dating websites, and you notice I said websites because most people are going to use more than one platform. I mean, there are a plethora of platforms out there, trust me, for whatever it is that you are seeking. So if you feel like, hey, I just want friends, flirt, chat, it's stuff for that. Hey, I just want dating and having fun, it's stuff for that. Hey, I just want a good old-fashioned beatdown every now and then by somebody that I feel like I can trust, it's stuff for that. And when I say beatdown, I don't mean beatdown physically. I mean, tearing up headboards and stuff. So, and then if you are looking for long-term relationships, relationship building, dating with purpose, then of course you got stuff for that. So trust me, it is something out there now for every particular taste and flavor. And what we'll do in episode 2 is just kind of get into what some of those platforms look like, what they offer. I ain't hardcore go out and just try this, but there are some that I have used or utilized that are better than others. You've got some that I feel like are really, really clean, wholesome sites, and then you've got some that I feel like are just 2 seconds away from being sketch. So we'll get into that. But yeah, guys, that's me. Again, my name's Andrew. I'll be your host for online dating in 2022. What to expect, what to not expect, and we'll have some very interesting conversations on this particular platform. I'm going to try and get people in to interview, whether they are people that's also experiencing the hardships, the trials, the tribulations of online dating. I'll get some success stories rounded up, and we could talk to people who met online and some of the things that happened, how the relationship transpired, how they ended up where they're at today. And then, of course, what's always fun, you got to have a little bit of drama. Got to throw in the drama, mama. We'll get some horror stories concerning some online dating escapades. So we're going to try and cover it all. We're going to make sure that there is some content for you to walk away with that's going to help you throughout this journey. Just a couple of quick things, something you hear me talk about from time to time. Always be safe. Always be safe. Always know what it is and who it is that you're meeting and getting into, because there is a lot of craziness that occurs in this particular stratosphere also. So I'm going to check off. I appreciate you guys spending some time with me and hanging with me. I'm going to look to build the audience. I'm going to look to build something awesome. Thank you. Sign on, support, and we'll holler at you in the next episode. Peace.